Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. Good to see you again. I'm Lee Kelso. As you know, we are working to change my 1989 Saab turbo convertible from an automatic into a 5-speed. We've already got the transmission bolted onto the engine. It's about ready to go back into place. But today is axle day around here. We're going to be changing the drive axles on this car, and the primary reason is this constant velocity joint. I don't really know the mileage on my car, somewhere north of 175,000 miles, I would guess. And this constant velocity joint is loose and it's making noise. So now's the time to get it done. I've never done this before, so I'm glad you're here to join me. Let's tackle it together. Before we get to installation, here's the lay of the land. This is the output socket of your transmission. Your axle has a tripod bearing at one end. And it's very simple. This bearing just slides right into that socket. Now you see it's all coated with a very thick molybdenum grease. That's important that this gator stay in place. If it gets ripped or torn, dirt, grit, water gets inside and can erode that joint, causing premature wear. This joint is designed so that the axle moves primarily up and down with your suspension. At the other end of your axle is the constant velocity joint. It's a much more complex arrangement because it has to transmit torque continuously as the wheel is turning and moving through lots of different axes. So it's a very interesting design that was first patented, I believe, in 1927 and is widely used today in front-wheel drive cars. Did you ever see inside one of these? Let's cut it open and take a look. Well, now that I've torn off the boot and wiped away the grease that's inside, you can see that this is indeed a complex joint with ball bearings running in various races to allow the joint to flex and move. Now, my joint is loose. I noticed that I can wobble it, and it has a little extension. Let me see if you can hear this or not. And I noticed that my car, when I was doing aggressive acceleration out of a turn, I was feeling a little vibration, and I always assumed that was the CB joint. So yes, I know you can rebuild the constant velocity joints, but seriously, I think I paid, I don't know, 50 bucks or something for an entire new axle assembly, and it seemed to me that since I'd never touched anything like this before, that was just the smart way to go. So what's going to happen is we will insert the axle through the engine compartment and then seat it into the wheel hub. Let's get after it. Love air tools, they come in so handy. All right, now that we have the ball joint bolted back in place and the hub, the spindle assembly fixed in location, we need to do one more step. And because I planned ahead, it's going to make it a lot easier in the long run. This threaded rod is the end of the power steering rack that I installed in a previous episode. At that time, when I disassembled, I put a little piece of blue tape there as a marker to show me just where this track rod end assembly was in the previous setting. So when my car was aligned, it was into that position, and I'll just put it back in roughly that same position today. And that tells me that when my car comes out of the shop, the wheels will be roughly in alignment as they were before. So this is how your steering control works. As you give inputs through the steering wheel, it pushes and pulls the steering rack, which acts on this track rod end, and turns your wheel assembly. Your upper and lower ball joints and these track rod ends are wear items. Over time, they just get sloppy and can result in sort of vague handling. So if your car has that problem, this is a good place to look. The parts are inexpensive, and it is a job that you can do yourself. I'll go back through, tighten things up, make sure everything's buttoned up to spec. But yeah, I feel like we made really good progress today, a major step toward getting the car back on the road. All right, guys, get out in the garage and get yourselves dirty. I certainly did today. We'll see you next time.